Welcome back. I'm Mark Summers. I'm the president of AIM. I will be your host this entire season. I'm really looking forward to this. This is, I get excited about and get pumped up about things like this because I get to meet more and more of our members. But I'm going to be interviewing Marine Corps veteran, founder and senior pastor of the Kingdom Learning Center, and CEO of Mr. Mortgage LLC, none other than DC Terry Sr. How you doing?
I'm good, Mark. How are you today?
Good. You know what? I couldn't be better today. 2021, I feel is going to be a phenomenal year. Looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to it as well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. This is going to be a great year, man.
Yes, I mean, with so many announcements that have already come out, and we're only in the sixth day of the month.
Yes.
So let's get started. Let's hop right into it. DC, tell me a little bit about your background. I want to know first off how you got into this industry because I haven't met one person who said, "Hey, when they were in middle school, high school, college, I wanted to be a mortgage broker. I
Yeah.
wanted to be an originator." So I love hearing the background of how people got involved. So give me a little background on yourself.
Well, for me, when I was in middle school, high school, I wanted to be a Marine. And so that was my dream. And so I went to Marine Corps right out of high school. As a matter of fact, my mother had to sign the document. I was still 17 when I went boot camp. And
Wow.
so went in there, and as far as I knew, I was going to be a lifer, and they were going to have to just tell me, you have to leave. And so I stayed in, and I was driving to a drive-through one day, and I saw a guy that was retired, and he was taking my order, and I just a thought came to mind. I had a mindset then that I wanted to be a millionaire, and coming from a single family home, a single parent home, where my father was just not there at all, not even in the picture, and literally not in the picture. And so I wanted to do this thing, buy my mother a home and all types of other stuff like that. And I just looked at it and said, after I pulled off, I said, okay, I can stay in and retire, but will I have to get a job like this guy? I really
Powerful.
have to make a decision here, on what I want to do, and how I'm going to get here. And so hardest decision I ever had to make in life, even up to this date, was making that decision to transition and get out of the Marine Corps. And so, and the reason that I did that is because I was singing in a group, and we were looking at signing a contract. And so it was really a business decision for me that I chose business over my lifelong dream. And so I got out, and a couple of days before the contract came through, I accepted Christ and turned it down. And so then I started in the Christian side, the Christian music industry, and ended up managing. Became a silent partner of a management group, as well as an artist under that same label as well, that same covering. And it got turned out not to be so Christ-like. And so I shifted into the management role, put my career on hold, and I started to manage a Christian contemporary group that had just got signed to a label, and we traveled the U.S., parts of Canada, and Europe, doing concerts and youth ministry for 3.5 years, and which is also how I met my wife. And we got to a certain point, and the group decided that they were going to go separate ways. And so, me being the manager, I really stuck my neck out there quite a bit and sunk everything I had into it. And so I had to do something to recoup funds. And it's a long story, I shortened it. So
You're good.
uh,
You're good. Keep going.
I had to do something to recoup funds. And so I was determined I was not going to go and work for anyone. And so here I was with these big dreams. I found myself in a drug infested neighborhood backing a 1980 F100 pickup truck that the stick was in the column, and
Wow.
backing it up in there that you could see the road through the floor, by the way. Um, Backing it up, laying the tailgate down, lining it with aluminum foil, selling fish sandwiches from like fried fish sandwiches from 9 o'clock in the morning till like 3 o'clock in the morning, until I was taking too much business, and a local restaurant reported me to DHEC. They came out and said, we can't find anything on you other than you don't have running water. If you can just talk to this gas station, I'm sure they help you out. But I knew then that that was my that was my sign that it was time to shift and move to the next part. So then I found myself in the multi-level marketing industry, and started there, and opened an office, had 40 individuals that on my team, and 10 desks out of that office that they were renting. 9 of them rented those desks from me. And it was also during that time frame that I'd right before shifting out of the music industry, I tapped into real estate. And so I would look at properties that were in that pre-foreclosure sale uh, category, find buyers for those properties and piece them together, and you just kind of make a little bit of money in between. So now I started to really dabble more into that while I was in the multi-level marketing realm as well, because I saw some things there that I just didn't like as far as how people were being treated after their investments. And so then I hit a roadblock. I saw that, okay, I have all of these people that are ready, they need to get out of these homes because they're trying to salvage their credit and they're trying to get a fresh start. I have the people that actually want to purchase these homes, but they don't have
Combine
the
the two,
money.
right? Combine the two somehow.
And I knew from just a prior teaching of a man of God that I was watching several years, he made a statement, and to this day it still sticks with me. And I teach individuals this: whenever there's a problem, the individual that can provide the solution, they make money. And the difference between providing that solution would be someone that's very important, a sanitation worker, and an attorney, very important individual as well. But what they do is what dictates the amount of money that they make. And I looked at that issue and I said, if I can find the money for these individuals, I can make a lot of money while helping so many people. That's how I got into this industry.
That's crazy. So you basically went from a Marine to music industry to basically, like, I guess you'd call a chef out of the back of your truck to real estate.
Yeah, I did. I did.
That's nuts. See, I always love hearing this just because, just like I said, no one ever says they want to do this, but they fall into it somehow, some way, whatever path they're given, and they love it. And that's
Yeah.
what I absolutely love about this industry. That's that's great. So what year would you say you actually got started in this industry?
In this industry as an LO, I started in 2001.
2001. That's the same year, exact same year I started in this industry.
Yes, sir.
And we can have a good conversation about this one. How much has the industry changed since then until now? Because you're going to hit home with the veterans that are like, oh my God, that was the wild, wild West days
Yeah.
compared to now.
Man, it's really like night and day on from so many different aspects. During that time frame, I was like the only one in the office that really was sent out to do things. So all of our disclosures we still had to print out and go through them and sign them and explain each document. In a nutshell, we had to know what we were talking about
Right.
to really be able to explain it. Today, you just push the button and e-sign. You have lenders like UWM to where you just go in and do a little bit and boom, it's kind of done for you in a nutshell, some of it. And so we don't fax anymore. Everything is more so
Right.
email or
I remember
e-fax.
I remember faxing appraisals. That's crazy.
Yeah, or faxing the actual your packaging, your submission packaging, and you get to page 60 and the fax jams. And
Yep.
so
Yep. Yeah, those were the crazy days. And I remember, that was well before, like, CDs, LEs, good faith
yeah,
estimates. I remember just having people sign, what was it called? A fees worksheet. And that was good
yeah,
enough. And you were good to
yeah,
go.
yeah. Then you could actually close a loan in 5 days as long as you had your stuff together, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
really just knock it out of the park.
Yeah. I also don't mind it because the industry has changed, I think, for the better.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of, I think it's given us a little bit more work here and there, you know what I mean? And it's made us more accountable, which
Mhm.
I'm okay with. I remember when I started, I didn't even have to have a license. I just started signing loan applications.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you just put your name on the roll.
Yeah. So it's definitely changed. It was the wild, wild West days to now. But I actually still think, if anything, I think we help consumers more now
Yes.
I think we're more educated. I think that we're more accountable, which I'm all for, because as long as you take care of the consumer, everything else kind of falls into place. Is my motto on everything.
Yeah.
So
I
let's
agree.
talk about your business model here real quick. What I I know the answer to this because I've spoke to you before, and I think this is going to shock some people here a little bit. But what type of loans do you do?
Um, I really do a lot of challenging loans, you know. Um, the A credit loans, A plus credit, anyone can do those, and that's
Right.
probably the I've seen that that's really the business model that's taught a whole lot, but it leaves so many people out. And those are also not the loans that I cut my teeth on in the industry anyway. So I do those challenging loans, and I don't know if you want me to go in how I got into doing them and all of that, but that's my market.
Yeah, let's hear it. Like how? So I mean, yeah, because I mean, you're talking about low hanging fruit that you're. I don't want to say you're turning down, but you're going a completely different route. Why? Why would you choose that?
Well, it's not exactly the well, if you listen to, everyone, it's not the best business model if you're
Right.
trying to build something fast. But for me, if you're trying to build something strong, when you want to build strength, it takes time. It really does.
Right.
So I started in the industry. I was the only one in the office that looked like me, and so a lot of the individuals were, those loans were cherry picked, and I got the worst of the worst. So I was the guy that was sent out to Charleston or Greenville or Spartanburg or Chesney and all these other places I've never heard of in between that sometimes on loans that never even closed, or we get there and find out that things weren't together. And so I was back in the office, and they had something called a turn down bin. And so I looked at that turn down bin and said, I really want to know why these loans can't get approved. So during that time, it was Homecomings Financial that they were using a lot, which was a sub of GMAC. And so I jumped on the phone with a couple of underwriters, and I just said, hey, listen, I have this file and it's not an approved eligible. I need to know why this loan cannot get approved. And so I had a few underwriters that, because then these underwriters weren't new, they'd been doing it a long time, and they had the time to actually share things with you. So they actually took me up under their wing, several of them that I never met. And they just explained to me at going through the system, okay, so this right here, this is what the mistake is here. If you change this, this loan will be approved eligible. And sure enough, it was approved just like that. And so that's what I started doing, going to the turn down bin, grabbing files that the other LOs just either didn't want to take the time to work on because it was just so easy, for them. Everything was being handed to them. And I'd grab those files, and then I became the actual number one in the office as far as the loans, with those closings. It didn't make it popular, make me that popular, but that's how I cut my teeth on.
Interesting. So you
Yeah.
saw you saw a turn down bin, which is crazy,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
saw a turn down bin and saw opportunity there, and you're able to help consumers, which I think is probably one of our number one goals. Is we got to do everything we can for consumers. I've said it before. We are what's best for consumers, and
Yes.
we have to put our best foot forward to find out what we can and can't do for people.
Absolutely. Everyone, we look at it as loans, but the truth of the matter is, for me, I look at it as a story. When I got at the Marine Corps, there was something that I had not learned that I thought I did. So here I was and I still had the same mentality that I had about credit that I had during my childhood, when I would order these mail order things, and um, and I'd have the money to make the payment for that month, which is only like maybe $3 or $4. And but a kid says, well, I have $10. I'll just make it next month. Well, when I got at the Marine Corps, I still had that same mentality. When everything just kind of got off of the auto draft, I had this, it was like a $30 payment. And I said, well, I'll pay it next month. To me, I'm a good guy. I'll, I have the money. So it's not as if I'm not going to pay him. I didn't really realize, I didn't know anything about a credit score until I showed up at a dealership to purchase my next vehicle that I never had a problem purchasing, and the guy says, and I got a friend sitting beside me, by the way. And the guy says, we we can't get this done for you. Your credit's not good enough. Embarrassing.
Right,
And
right.
And I'm like, okay, what in the world is going on? Well, he said to me this. He said, I can see all of your all of your on-time payments, but he said right here, he called out the month. He said, this is when everything changed. Did you get out of the Marine Corps or something? Did you get out of the service? I said, yeah, that's when I got out. He said, because I can see here. And that stuck with me today, that when I'm looking at a credit report, I'm looking at more than just, a file, or more than just someone who's a terrible being, because I see a story. And
That's awesome. I
when
love
you
that.
yeah, when you understand, you see someone's story, then you know that you're doing more than getting a loan approved. You're helping someone change their life.
That's I'm gonna tell you right now, that's powerful stuff. You know what I mean? Because we get engulfed into what we do,
Yeah.
and we get engulfed into the process and what we're doing. But I mean, as I've said, in some of these weekly sales meetings I do and stuff, probably 95% of the people that we help, this is arguably the biggest financial decision they'll ever make, and we can change their lives.
Yes, sir.
So I like that. I'm, personally, as I've told you before, DC, I'm still a producing loan officer, broker owner. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to use that, going into each one. That's powerful stuff. I'm
Thank you.
telling you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we hear now that you're doing some loans that most people wouldn't take on or probably shy away from.
Yeah.
What advice or how, I mean, I know you said make it a story, but what's some other advice that you can give to people who are more reluctant to do those types of loans?
I wouldn't necessarily tell everyone to do it, because it takes a lot of this. You got to have the heart. And I don't mean the heart as in you got to have drive. No, I mean you really have to have the heart to really want to help people. And everyone does not necessarily have that, and it doesn't make them a bad person at all. It just means that that's just not their cup of tea, and they just aren't cut out for that. But what I would say to the individuals that are, cut out for it, whether you know it or not, is never give up, never retreat, never surrender, and always keep the client first. Find out about them. Why are they trying to purchase the home? What are they really trying to do? Because maybe sometimes you just need to connect with, I really want to get my wife this, or my daughter wants her own bedroom, and I promised my family that this is what I would do for them. I would say do that, and then you want to make sure that you find those lenders. It's kind of twofold. Find the lenders that can do the type of loans that more than likely these borrowers are going to be going to, and get to know the guidelines and get to know their system. Get to know
Okay.
the people that are working there so that you can pick up the phone and call them. And then also you want to explain to the realtors and the borrowers that, listen, this is going to be this is like a flight. And whenever you are taking off, it may, there's going to be that upfront, excitement. But
Right.
throughout this, you need to know that there's a strong possibility that we're going to hit some turbulence. And so all I need you to do is just go ahead and prep yourself for that. That we'll probably hit some turbulent times, but we're good at landing this plane. And so I need you to trust us along the way, listen to your flight attendants, and do everything that they tell you to do. And if you can do that, just buckle up. We'll get you there.
Dude, that's another great analogy, man. You're coming up with some of the best analogies out there right now. I love that. Yeah, we'll get you to the place. It's going to be bumpy, but we'll get you to the landing spot.
Yes, sir. Explain
That's
it.
yeah.
Explain it.
So there's one thing you touched base on, which was your previous history of like credit and basically not knowing. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I'm seeing that more and more. I I beat it in my kid's head about credit, and
Me
being
too.
responsible and whatnot, but not a lot of people get that. So how do you handle that along with educating, your consumers? How do you get across? What are you educating them on?
God, I don't know where to start with that one. Um,
Well, let's talk
because
about
it's
this first. How do you educate your consumers?
Well, mostly, I try to do some videos, but for the most part, that one-on-one has been really, and now we're starting to set it up to where I can just bring everyone into a setting and just take them from A to Z on and what's important, what you need to do. But I talk with them about their situation. This is what you have to do. This is what we need to do. I talk about the credit. I do more than around here. Actually, I'm one of the first ones that started years ago back in like 2004 telling individuals get a credit card. So now it's like everyone saying, "I'll get a credit card," but that's not necessarily the fix all the time.
Right.
Or you know what? Do credit restoration or do credit repair, and I explained the difference um, between credit repair, which is getting something off of your credit that's actually not supposed to be on it, and you actually just lying and saying that it's not yours, hoping that it's gonna fall off. So I actually come at it from a hard, sometimes perspective, but that hard truth just to say, listen, this is where you are. This is what we have to deal with. And so those are the types of conversations that I have with people.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many conversations I have with people, especially first time home buyers and whatnot on credit, and you know how sometimes we have to make a plan in order
Yes.
to put them in the best situation. You know, whether it's lack of credit or, you know, hey, being 30 plus days is not good. You know, I don't care what you say,
Yeah.
it's just not good. So yeah, so okay, go back to this. So you're doing more videos now. Did you used to do videos back in the day, or, you know, because you mentioned something to me earlier about you being an introvert, and doing videos is not the most introvert thing.
I started back in the day, and I probably did about eight, and then I stopped. So yeah, actually, I'm an introvert. So if you've ever seen me at the conferences and you just see me walking around, I'm not stuck up. I just I just don't have a lot to say. I'm talking now because you're asking me questions. But if you turn me around and just say, "Hey, listen, just go for it," uh, man, hey, how you doing, Mark? How's your family? And after that, you know,
It's done.
it's done. So I've those videos, the kind of I did a lot then, but I did a lot more. I do a lot more now, and I'm getting into it more. So, and even in this industry, and I think I told you exactly how I was ministry wise. Well, you would think that someone who's been in ministry over 20 years, they definitely wouldn't be an introvert, but that's not true. I would when I was great on the platform, but when I would step down when I'm finished with the message, and at the end of the service, when all of the other ministers are heading towards the back door to shake hands, and the pastor and all those people during that time frame, I would be standing at the back door that leads to the pastor study or some of the other offices, and I would just wave at the people. So when I come to some of the conferences and I see someone like Evan Wade, and we stand beside each other and we speak and we say about, you know, 5 sentences, and then after that we're looking around, we're both comfortable because and I love you, Evan. So I said to him, you know, I'm an introvert. And he said, me too. And so I look for people like that. So when I saw you the first time, um,
At Fuse, at our
yeah,
first Fuse, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was determined that I was going to actually come out even more because I'd hit a point in my life and business to where I found that I could no longer make good on my promises to my family and myself by staying in that bubble, because the easy loans or easy leads that were coming from the, you know, those days of Wachovia and all the files that they couldn't do, the challenging files that I did do, those days were gone. And now people just didn't know where I was. They didn't know how to find me. They didn't know who I was, or even if someone could do those loans. So I on purpose, I spoke to you. But now here's the fumble. Right after I spoke to you, I was going to speak to Laura Brandeo. And I turned to
Hmm.
speak to her, and someone else got to her first. And so it knocked my thought off. So when that person walked away, she was standing there like this, and I was standing there like this. And so I stood there, and someone else came up, and I walked off. The next year, it took me a whole year because I decided I wasn't going to speak to her on Facebook. So it took me a whole year. I purposed in my mind that I was going to go back to Laura and speak to her. So the way that I've come out of it, it's been on purpose, but it's for a purpose. I
Right.
know that I can't build my business the way that I need to and really impact people's lives the way that I need to if I can't talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all have our own little bugaboos inside of us that, you know, we don't like doing certain things because we feel uncomfortable. But I know, you know, we all fight through that, and
Yeah.
we always become better once you can, you know, jump over that hurdle, and whatever your, you know, your insecurity is, you just go after it. I mean, because look at you, you're an easy person to speak with. You know what I mean? So don't be an introvert.
Pray for me. I'm
I
trying, man.
I got you. I got you. Now, dealing with mortgage brokers and stuff, one of the things that I love about our industry is, there's thousands of us. We all have our own little businesses, but one of the things that I love about us the most is that we're basically, we're deep into our community, and I
Mhm.
think that's where our biggest impact is. The more of us that we can get just ingrained into our community, I think the better we are and the more powerful we are. So tell me, DC, how are you a part of your community? I know that's a broad
Yeah.
question, you know what I mean? But like when you look at yourself as a mortgage broker, how do you feel you're a part of your community?
Well, one, I can't look at myself just as a mortgage broker when I'm in ministry as well. So that
Good point. Good point.
that is all of that stuff is combined that when someone sees me, that's a part of who I am. They see all of me. And so I made a decision some years ago that even on Facebook, I was going to start showing people all of me and not just pieces. And so one of the things that I do is I try to do a daily, at least Monday through Friday, motivation piece to where I will just, share something positive, positive message there. um, School improvement councils, even at the on the educational level. I've been a part of those for probably the last 9 years, and even chaired several years as well. So that anything dealing with ministry, obviously there as well. But I really just try to be active in such a way that it's more targeted to where I'm not trying to seem like I'm really not trying to get my business out there.
Right.
I really want to be in a place to where I can help people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
No.
answered your question.
Yeah, no, no, you definitely did. I did a panel with some people on Fuse, our virtual Fuse event back in September, and one of the panels were talking about how you're a part of your community, and a lot of people have to understand that you're doing this just to be a part of your community. You don't do it with anything expecting a return.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because they see the human side of you,
Yep.
and that's what they want to see. They just don't want numbers. Yeah, I mean, trust me, everyone wants the best rate and best cost and all that
Yep.
stuff. But when they know that you're a human being and the type of person you are, that's where it goes far. And that's why I think personally, that's why our industry is the best.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So give me some so you use your, I mean, you don't use your community. You're a part of your community. Would you say that within your community that's where you get most of your business? Or do you do any type of other marketing, advertising, or is it just, hey, this is my community, this is who I help?
I do some marketing now through Lead Pops as far as with Facebook advertising.
Okay.
It's not necessarily, where a huge amount of leads or closings are coming from as of yet, though the leads are flowing in. I have to be honest with you. I'm actually having to needing to call them now to say turn it down because these guys are great
Really?
at great at what they do. So I just want to get back to your question. um, so I do that, but I think for me, when it comes down to the that marketing piece, and you kind of help me if I'm not answering your question as much, but what I try to do is also make sure that other than different posts and all types of things like this, which I used to do with that, like your UWM um, things to where you'd put up and say, hey, listen, close in 7 days, or do something
Oh yeah.
something like that. I get a lot of referrals from realtors. We get some even from Vetted VA, which is an awesome group for veterans
Great
uh,
group.
as well, because people know that we are actually there to help them. But then there's something that I'm really crafting more so for me and centered around building, creating a culture here in the company to let people know that it's not just veterans that I'm after. Also, there's that large group of FHA borrowers that fall in a particular realm that because you're not a veteran, this is not really going to be easy for you. And so I'm trying to look at marketing that way as well. Did I answer that question or did I kind of veer
Yeah.
off?
No, no, no. You're 100% right, because one of the things I want to get across with these podcasts is, number one, as you've clearly pointed out here is that there's 1,000 right ways to do business in this industry. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You're going on your path, which is great. But then I also want to get across of, how people are getting business. Some people are big lead generators and that's what they want to work off of. Some
Hmm.
people, like I'll tell you myself, I'm probably 98% past business and referrals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I know for my for some goals this year, I'm trying to flip it a little bit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because there's in my eyes, there's only so many referrals and stuff that can go around. But
Yes.
no, that's what I was just trying to get across. And you hit it, which is how do you get your business? Are you marketing? Are you advertising? Is it just all referrals? So okay, let's talk about purchase refinance. What would you say your percentages on purchase and refi?
Right now, it's a crazy time to ask that. Right now, I would probably say that I'm 70. Well, before COVID, mostly purchases and very few
Okay.
refis. But now I would definitely say, I was going to say 70, maybe 60% is going to be that refi. And it's
Okay.
kind of 50-50. But right now, today, 60% of because of something special that I'm kicking into gear right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
But
You know what?
can I
Go ahead.
can I jump back just real quick to
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
marketing piece? Is
Yeah.
I was speaking to an agent who's been in the industry just as long as me, and he's really built a successful business here. And so I asked different individuals, hey, listen, what did you do? How are you doing this? And there's something that he said about marketing because he has this vehicle with his name all on it and all types of other stuff. And he said, I do everything. I do the referrals. I do this. I do that. He said the reason that I just do everything, number one, because you can, but two is you just never really know, where it's all coming from. He said I just know that it works, and by me continuing to do everything, whether it's the wrap on the vehicle, whether it's the T-shirt, or whether it's the jacket with my name on it, whether it's me, my signature line. He said I do it all because it all works.
It's a great point. So, DC, you got a lot of good points today.
You're pulling it out of the introvert.
Oh God, that's awesome. All right, so we're coming near towards the end here. One thing, we all have our different ways of doing business. We all have our different theories. We all have we're differences. Let's just say
Mhm.
that. My last question to you, and we can build off this, is what advice do you want to give, whether it's to an up and coming person, the current community that we're in, or the future of it? What advice or words of wisdom that you can give?
I would say know what you want. And what I mean by that is get a good vision for your life, even if it's not 20 years from now, 5 or right now. Know what you want and use this industry to design that life. And when you do that, when you know what you want, you may find that you may not need to close 40 loans a month to get that. And so you don't necessarily need to be caught up into what someone else is doing because you can get down on yourself real hard when you're comparing yourself to someone else. So know what you want, use this industry to design that particular life for you. Then when you see someone like a Todd Bitter or Tom Ailes or a lot of these other great guys, a Melanie Wahlberg, you just see them throw up these numbers.
Big hitters, big
Yeah,
hitters.
you can celebrate them. You can celebrate them, and you won't feel uncomfortable having a conversation with them. Number one, they're all down to earth, and so many others that I have not mentioned, by the way.
Right.
So they're all down to earth. You can approach them. You can have great conversation. You can get tips, insights, and all of these good things. And you don't have to feel bad about the fact of woe is me. I'm the lowest of the low. And then also another thing is that when you meet individuals who are heavy hitters or consider themselves to be heavy hitters, and they may not be as mature as some of the others. In other words, they're a heavy hitter. They know they're closing more volume than you, and they make you feel like it, or try to. When you know what you want and you've crafted your life, you've used this industry to build that. When you stand with those individuals, when they leave you, you won't be busted because you're
Right.
confident in who you are because you've actually built your life. Now, it may change later, that you decide, because for me, for a long time, I've been doing this now 19 years, almost 20. And for a long time, I just wanted to stay a one-man shop because I just didn't want to be bothered with anyone. But in the last, couple of years, I decided, I'm going to build something. I want to build something that I can leave behind. I want to build something larger than me. And that shifted, the whole vision shifted. And so now it can no longer just be me. And so I knew what I wanted before. I know what I want now, but now the requirements have changed.
Yeah.
And when the requirements change, the conditions, they change. So in order for me to get this is what I have to do. So it also changes now. Or before, I didn't necessarily need to listen to this type of message from this person or follow their plan or look at their model. But now I'm having to look at different models of, okay, so how did you get here? Having these quick conversations with individuals that are reachable, Scott Shang, and touchable, different, and so many others as well that I've reached out to on the back end. And I cannot go without saying Anthony Casa, who actually reached out to me in the beginning and got me a part of Brawl. So having these conversations with people who actually have built something that looks like, similar to what you want to build, that's what you need to do. But know what you want first, and then you want to use this industry to actually, design that life, and then find those individuals who are real, who are down to earth, and they're actually killing it for real. Find those people who are sincere that can kind of help you along the way.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on so many good points there, and obviously know what you want, and don't. I always tell people as well, don't compare yourself, to a Todd Bidder or someone like that,
Yeah.
champion them. Like
Yes, sir.
that's what we're here to do. I mean, if set your own goals and hit your own goals and be comfortable with it. And
That's
then if
right.
you get a little upset about it, first off, don't talk bad about anyone if they did better than you, and don't discredit what they did. They did what they did, and I think that's the one beautiful thing about our community is that we've come together. Without this community, I would never have met you. I would never have met Todd Bitter, Evan Wade, Melanie. I mean, I can go on and on, just everyone, and the thing I love about it is like when we go to our events or, even in our Facebook group pages and all that stuff. I mean, we're helping each other. We're
That's
helping each
right.
other grow. And that's what the true definition of a community is. And that's what I love about AIM.
Yes, sir. And it's powerful. And also you see so many individuals that come together. I can honestly say that there are certain individuals that I look forward to having conversations with when I go, to these gatherings here, because I know that when we see each other in our eyes, there's no competition, there's
Right.
camaraderie, and that's why I try to make sure that I'm there, because I want to get something else, and also I want to be around people who know the fight, they know the struggle. I want to look in the eyes of people who have come from here and they're now here, so that the encouragement of just seeing success, walking by you and rubbing elbows with it, man, sometimes you need that. I don't
Yeah.
care
No,
who you are.
you're 100% right. And one thing I always go back to as well, and I know you'll help me out on this one, is when we started AIM, I want to say we were about 12% of the market. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And for some reason, we were each other's competition, and I have no idea why. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, there's so much more business to get out there. You know what I mean? And when we do these events, and it's just amazing to see that we've grown so much. I think we're around that 20% mark right now.
mhm.
There's still a lot of business for us to get out there, and I love. You're right. You gravitate towards certain people that you're going to want to have conversations with, and let's be honest here, they're going to help your business grow.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. If you listen,
Right.
and that's the thing, is just listening. I'm stubborn. I really am. And I've always taught that being stubborn can be a good thing. It can work against you, but in some cases it can work for you as well. Because when you run into those people that try to convince you that your model is wrong or that you shouldn't be doing it this way, you're going to need to be a bit stubborn so that you can act and go through what you need to go through in order to prove that it really works. And so you can find
Yeah.
other. I look for other stubborn people like you and
I don't know if I'm that
Evan
stubborn,
and
but
you, Evan, and Ramon, and some of these other guys who that's why you're successful, because you're hard headed in the right area. Yeah.
right. Anyone who ever says, no, that's not the way you should be doing it, it's just like I don't even want to talk to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you. You got to be hard headed on certain things, but man,
Yeah.
anything that I can do to make myself better, and even the guys in my office, the guys and gals in my office, we're always looking for ways to get better. Even if it's just, it saves 5 minutes of time. We're
Yes, sir,
always looking to
man.
get better.
Yeah. And before that 5 minutes of time, it didn't matter to me. But now that I'm having to build something that's going to go beyond me, man, 3 minutes matters.
Right. Right. Because, well, let's be honest, we can help more people.
That's right. That's right.
Well, DC, listen, I don't know if you have anything you want to add in here, but this conversation that you and I had has been powerful, enjoyable all at the same time. You dropped a lot of knowledge on us. I think a lot of our fellow, peers and community people can take from this. So I just want to thank you
Well,
for coming on.
I honestly, I appreciate the opportunity. I've been watching the podcast for a while, and to be, asked to be a part of it is just, it's a blessing to me. And so I appreciate it greatly.
Yes, our pleasure. Thanks for taking time out of your day. So everyone, in DC, thanks for sharing your
Thank you.
insight with us. To my fellow brokers out there, if you want to get caught up on all of our podcasts and podcast episodes, please head over to aimgroup.com. You'll see the podcast link there. It'll take you to broker to broker. You can also listen to all of our broker to broker podcast episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And I'm sure there's probably 5 or 7, 10 more that I don't know about because I'm getting old and I'm realizing my technology is whereabouts are going down. So, and then also when you're there, please rate our podcast and leave a review. It helps us get the podcast out there and spread the word. And the word that we're always trying to spread is brokers are better. So,
Sure.
DC, once again, thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day. My name's Mark. My name's Mark Summers. I'm the president of AIM, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Blessings, everyone.